I'm Spike Glazebrook Higgs, and this is my 16.1. For the roles, the first role is trainer, where it's specific to a group. Where if a trainer was to take a group session, it would be broad, taking all participants, and it would be taken for a certain session, and it wouldn't be as in detail and wouldn't be as directed to a certain participant. It wouldn't be able to be kind of generalized or applied to each participant as um, for a trainer you're meant to be working on weaknesses, and not everyone in a group, say a cricket team, is going to have the same weakness. So if they go into bowling, a player might be outstanding at bowling but their weakness is batting or fielding, and this wouldn't get taken by the trainer in a group. But with an individual, certain skills are uh, trained, and it's in a lot more detail, and it's taken from your strengths and weaknesses, and your weaknesses will be trained so they become strengths, and that's how a trainer helps you adapt and progress as an athlete. As a friend, a coach or manager might be a lot more lax to a friend as other participants, say a Sunday league or any other semi-pro or amateur amateur team, say Sunday league team. If one of the players is particularly close to the manager as a friend or family, then they're going to have more opportunities to play, as in if maybe one player didn't turn up to training, or two players didn't turn up to training, one of them being close to the manager and the other not, it's more than likely that the participant or athlete that is close to the manager, they're more likely to still be played if than the other athlete that didn't, or the other teammate didn't go to this training session. They're the closer athlete, the friend would then be more likely to be played. They're given more opportunities, and they'll be treated differently in the same situation. As a role model, this applies to age groups where professional behaviour should be shown with younger players, and it is still needed, but at a lower level, and it's less pivotal with maybe older groups. So if it was a men's basketball team, if a coach was to shout and swear at a referee, wouldn't be taken too seriously, and it wouldn't affect the or it would be taken seriously. It wouldn't be taken seriously by the coach's players. Where if it was a younger group, then as this person is a role model, then they're gonna perhaps copy this. And with older groups, they're not going to copy this, as they have their own manner and how they act during a game. Motivator is now between sports. So with maybe a higher intensity sport, a coaches will portray and act differently as to a lower intensity sport or a different group that they're with. So if a motivator was with a high intensity sport like rugby or bodybuilding, or if a coach was doing this with bodybuilding or rugby, as a motivator they'd be a lot more aggressive and pumped up, and they'd pump their players up. But with a younger group, or maybe like gymnastics or something a lot less intense and aggressive, where it's perhaps maybe even golf, where it is to be where you're meant to be calm, and that's how, and darts, where you're to be calm to perform as well as you can. Their coach will be different between the two, or will be different between sports. Right, with skills, so problem solving. If a problem arises like injuries or missing equipment, a younger group of kids, or well, any younger group, they can get bored easily and they can be a lot more hassle than older groups when something goes wrong, like these injuries or missing equipment, broken equipment. There can be a lot more trouble than the older groups, as they don't really know how to act, and they're a lot more, well, childish, ironically. So an older group will be able to control themselves, and maybe even an assistant or the captain of a Sunday League team. With this, the captain of the Sunday League team would then keep them under control, or an assistant would do this, or even when something happens, they don't go off the rails like a younger group would. Analysis is where a coach for a group or an individual. So a coach of a team, a Sunday League team, would look at shots to goals or shots to shots on target, possession, but a individual coach, so maybe like a PT or someone who's directly looking at this one player, if in a Sunday League football environment, or if they have like a coach for them, if they're in quite a high level, they'll look at their pass completion, ball retention, their take-ons to successful take-ons, how many times they lost the ball, or a basketball player where it's turnovers to steals, or blocks to blocks, or just their shots in the field with their shots to their points, and how many like percentages, and they'll take these statistics. But for a coach for team, they'll look at team statistics, and an individual look at the individual statistics, and these would be different ways of analysis. Organising for an amateur team, more organising is needed by the participants and the coach. So a venue, equipment, that will need to be taken, but so that's maybe a Sunday League team where the coach needs to get all the players to this to the venue of the game, needs to bring all the equipment, needs to bring all the equipment, everything they'll need. But professionals, they're a professional athlete like Roger Federer, with Wimbledon just gone. He wouldn't have to organise anything. He'd go to Wimbledon, he'd play centre court, everything's planned for him. He's got all his equipment, he's got absolutely everything for him. He's got the ball boys to get his towel, to get spare balls, drinks, anything. And he won't have to organise any of this. But if an amateur coach would then, so a Sunday League coach, if they would then have to bring all of this for their team, but Roger Federer's coach wouldn't have to do any of the organising. He'd just go, okay, turn up at this point. Finally, with responsibilities, with legal obligations, it's more in kids, where adults are liable for themselves if they were to they're liable for themselves. They can give consent for them, and informed consent about if there's any danger, then they know that they're doing it, and if they can sign off on anything. But controlling things like health and safety for kids compared to adults is a lot more difficult, and protection from harm overall falls much more upon kids. So protection from harm, maybe like bullying in the team. It's with adults. They're a lot less, childish, and they're a lot less likely to do this, and if it is, obviously they can sort it out because they're above it, I would hope. But it's the coach's problem when it comes to kids, and then that happens because obviously they're a lot more vulnerable in these positions, and with health and safety, they can't give consent for themselves. They can't sign away anything, so they then have to make sure that they do what's necessary. The coaches need to make sure that everything's checked out and they have all of their legal obligations signed off before any participation can actually happen. For equal opportunities, all players will get or should be getting the same game time in a lower level team. So a Sunday League team, although they might not start, lower level players will also get paid and played, not paid. Lower level players will get played and they'll have some game time even if they don't start. Whereas a higher level team, so a youth academy, so maybe the Wolves Academy, where they won't give equal opportunities. They're set out and they are funded to put out the best team possible and them utilising the best performers instead of letting everyone have a go. So this kind of equal opportunities just change between coaches, where it's lower and higher level, where the point is it goes from fun to developing the best performers into the best they can possibly be. Health and safety. It's dangerous sports. There's always has to be checks in place, between different sports, so trampolining, gymnastics, where it's a lot higher risk. There has to be a lot more checks, and coaches have to be a lot more alert, and they have to keep an eye and make sure that they're covering all of these things. And lower abilities as well. If you were to put a low ability group into a risky situation, it's sure to cause some kind of injury, problem, whatever. Higher abilities, of course, it's less needed as they do know what they're doing. But with lesser dangerous sports, obviously, they're not really going to be as used. They're not going to be needed. The checks aren't not as many checks are going to be needed as it'll be a lot less risky. With professional conduct, finally, around different age groups, like we've role model before, disagreeing with referees, anything obviously less professional, so swearing, disagreeing with referees, getting too close to young players, it can be quite messy, and as young performers are a lot more impressionable, it's much more regarded as needed. Professional conduct is a lot more necessary with younger groups, as they see the coach as a role model, and older groups don't really see the coach as a role model, more of someone that they're there with, instead of just this person is our coach, like they know what they're doing, we should probably copy them.